Are you caught in the whirlwind of overwhelming responsibilities? And does the very thought of Monday morning send chills down your spine? Well, it's time to toss those feelings out the window. Welcome to Season 3 of the Take Notes podcast, where you get to make yourself the priority in order to show up as your best self. I'm your host, Jen Rafferty, former music teacher, emotional intelligence practitioner, mom of 2, and founder of Empowered Educator, and I've been where you are. In this season, we're not just talking about surviving, we are diving deep into thriving. Are you ready to take the lead in your life? Well, let's do this. Hello, and welcome back to another fantastic episode of Take Notes. Today, I have an incredible guest. With me is Crissy Florio, who is a lover of all things mind, body, and soul. And she is a 3-year breast cancer thriver. And for over a decade, she has been teaching vinyasa and therapeutic yoga, including yoga for cancer recovery, yoga for the lymphatic system, and yoga and traditional Chinese medicine. She is an advocate for helping her students step into their power and connect to their bodies on a deeper level. And Crissy has always believed in a healthy lifestyle, and throughout the years has helped more and more beautiful humans live a more mindful, harmonious, and connected life. Thank you so much, Crissy, for being here on the show today.
Yay. Thank you. I got a little teary-eyed as you were saying all of that. Definitely didn't think I'd get emotional right off the bat, but there you are.
Here we are. It's you, and it's beautiful. And you are here to share your story of thriving with our audience today. So let's start with that story. We're going to dive right in.
Let's do it, sister.
Give us all of the things. What happened in your life when you found out? And kind of give us a sneak peek into what that journey was like, especially at the beginning with that initial diagnosis.
Sure. Well, breast cancer never really ran in my family. And I can honestly say I never had a thought in my mind that I could potentially even get breast cancer. I would go for my mammograms. I would go yearly to get my checkups, my woman checkups. And it just never really dawned on me. And it was 2020, and it was actually the end of August that I was just going for my yearly checkup, and my gynecologist just kind of was feeling around, and she was like, "Oh, I don't really love the way that feels." And I was supposed to just walk down the hall to get my mammogram. I was 42 at the time. And so she said, "Let's skip the mammogram today. Let's do a diagnostic and an ultrasound." So I had that scheduled, and still I'm fairly a positive mindset person, or have that mindset. And I was just like, okay, this is just routine. We'll just keep on going. And then one thing led to another. And then a few weeks later, unfortunately, I heard the words, "You have breast cancer." And as you can imagine, life just stops in that moment. Everything is just like up in the air. Like, is this really my life? Am I going to get through this? How and why and all the things. And I found out on September 23rd with my husband in the room. And at that instant, I really can honestly say that I felt like I was just in a tunnel, that the whirlwind was going around me, and I was just sitting here watching everything spinning and spinning. And then, days go by, you get a grasp of, okay, you have all these new lingo that you're trying to learn about what type of cancer you have, new doctors you're going to need to meet with. What is your protocol going to look like? And so days and weeks go by, and you slowly come out of that fog. And there's no time set for everybody's a little bit different, but I slowly came out of the fog and accepted my reality and accepted my journey of doing 6 rounds of chemo, double mastectomy, opted out of doing a few other things that my doctors had encouraged. But also at that moment, after doing all of that and technically being cancer-free within 4 months of finishing chemo and my mastectomy, at that moment, I started to really hone in on my own intuition and my own gut feeling of being strong enough to say no to my doctors. And I don't encourage people to just be like, "Hey, don't do this because you're going to have all of these side effects." I definitely don't agree with that. But I do agree with honing into your gut intuition and into what feels right to you to make the decision that is right for you. And my decision was to then start to really marry in the Eastern modalities, type holistic healing, and energy healing and nutrition and naturopathic healing, as well as, okay, I did everything Western in the beginning. And now I'm going to kind of really bring in some of my holistic healings to marry that into my own healing. So now fast forward 3.5 years later now, actually February 23rd will technically be 4 years of being cancer free. That will be the day of my mastectomy 4 years ago. And that's the day that I technically consider myself in remission and cancer free. So it's been a whirlwind. It's been lots of ups and downs, but a beautiful journey, a real beautiful journey.
Yeah. So thank you so much for sharing all of that. And I know so much of what we're going to talk about is going to continue to resonate with our listeners. I want to take it in a few different directions, but before I do, there's something that you said came out of this, which was wanting to connect with your intuition and trusting your gut. So I'm wondering, when there's illness or disease in the body, how then were you able to connect to your body again where you could trust it? For me, when I feel any sort of illness, up until recently, I kind of had have a reconnection with my body in the way that I wanted to talk with it and have a relationship with it, because there would be this anger and resentment when my body was not doing the things that I wanted or needed it to in those moments, which then, of course, continued this negative feedback loop. And we know how that story ends.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how were you able to reestablish that connection to your body so you could trust it? Or maybe that never went away for you.
No, it definitely did. It definitely did. In the beginning, it's like, wait a minute, I'm a healthy person. I have my hands on my hips right now. I teach yoga, for God's sakes. Like, how could this happen to me? And it could happen to anybody. And I think that's important to understand, is that your body didn't let you down. I think that, yeah, in the beginning, I did lose trust of like, wow, how did I let this happen? How did I have this huge tumor growing in my breast and I didn't even know? I think that for me, going through it during COVID actually was a blessing in disguise, because it was the end of COVID and because the vaccines weren't really a thing just yet and the uncertainty of the world was really kicking in. I completely stopped working. My job was to heal myself. So I quarantined again. I really didn't get to see any of my friends except for some people who would take a COVID test and come and stay with me. So my job was to go inward. My job was reconnecting back to myself. My job was to forgive my body. And I would ebb and flow with that. I would have days where I just wanted to scream and cry and just lay in a ball. And I would have days where I was like, okay, you know what? I'm feeling okay. And I would get out and I would do things. So I think it's really important for everyone to understand, whether it's a cancer diagnosis or it's even just a sickness or an injury. I think it's really important to give yourself the time to be able to pause and be one with yourself, not just your physical body, but your energy, your emotions, your thoughts, your feelings, your mind, and be able to feel all of the feels. And again, kind of what I said before, there's no time frame where you're like, okay, time's up. I'm back to my normal self. No, it is going to come and go. You know, you're going to have that kind of push and pull type of feel, not only in your body, but in your emotions as well. So it's just really important to be able to feel the feels. And it's quite interesting that a few months after, when I was technically cancer free, the doctors just say, okay, bye. Go about and live your life now. Now you only have to go to the doctors every 3 or 6 months. And you kind of get into this feeling of, wait a minute. I'm like, wait, I got to go back into life now. How do I do that? How do I do that and not live in fear? And I really did this beautiful coaching program. I wasn't actually the coach, but I sat in on one. And it was all about how to thrive after cancer, how to kind of learn to trust again and not live in that fear-based world where you feel like it's just going to come back any moment, and really taking your power back in the form of what you eat, what thoughts are you thinking, what are you doing physically to continue to build that strength and that trust to your body again. And one of the most beautiful things that we did, and it was so, I have the chills right now thinking about it. was we wrote a letter to our body, and then we wrote a letter from our body back to us, reconnecting and reestablishing that beautiful bond and recognizing that my body is not separate from me. My mind is not separate from me. My emotions are not separate from me. My energy is not, we're one. And just reestablishing that connection of unity and oneness. And what was beautiful about it is learning yoga and being a teacher and being a body who lives her yoga. That's what yoga is. Unity is to yoke, is to unite, is to be one. And it starts with yourself first, and then it continues out to others. So it was just coming also back like full circle to my yoganess, my yoginess, whatever, just being one with myself and loving myself as a whole once again.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. And I guess my question to you is, we both know that being in unity with yourself sounds lovely, and it doesn't always feel good as we're going through this process, because you need to look in the mirror, you need to go within, you need to reconnect with some of the shadows and the wounds that you've experienced in your life. What kinds of things did you do to help you through all of that when it might have felt really uncomfortable?
Some of the things that I did back then and I continue to today, because as we know, life is constantly happening. Distractions are always going to occur, pain, discomfort. We're always going to have discomfort around coming and going in our lives. So back then for me, it was cancer. For now, right now, I've been going through some back discomfort and some back things for the last 2.5 months, which very much is bringing me back to that same kind of vibe and feels of when I was going through my cancer diagnosis, which is really quite interesting. So it's making me realize that there are still some wounds there that need to be healed. But some of the things that I did back then and still continuing today, number one, journaling for me is one of my favorite ways to acknowledge, accept, and to visualize or ask for what I want coming up in the day ahead or days coming ahead. So journaling, huge, huge, huge for me. Meditation, very huge. You would think, oh, yogis, they meditate all the time. I didn't have a huge meditation practice, but going through quarantine life and COVID life, I started to connect to one. And then obviously going through chemo, I really did. I loved guided meditations, and you don't have to do it on your own. You could do some of the guided meditations. There's a ton on YouTube that are beautiful, and you find people that connect to you and the topic and the purpose behind the meditation. You can find ones that really call to you on those days. So that really helped me. EFT tapping, I loved to do tapping. And while I didn't do it so much when I was going through chemo, because I was afraid to actually tap my head, because during chemo, I did cold capping to save my hair. So I didn't want to tap my head. So I kind of didn't do it then, but I did it just shortly after like my surgery and that healing. And I do it a lot now. Being outside, being in nature, going for walks. Definitely, I live in Florida. So for me, being able to go to the ocean is very accessible. You know, self-healing books and learning other different views on things. It helped to ignite other ways of healing as well, and just see some other things to bring me back into the present moment rather than letting my mind go so far forward. Just bring it back home right here.
Yeah. And being in the present moment is something that I think everybody wants to know how to do more. Or if you know how to do it, we want to be able to reconnect to it more and more. But the priorities that we have found ourselves in are very different from the priorities that you're describing right now. And so I know your circumstances were different because it was during COVID. So everyone's priorities shifted during then. But now, life is kind of back to at least a similar pace. How do you continue to prioritize your healing in a world that often tells us that becomes secondary or even in tertiary kind of way to some of these other things that seem more important?
Sure. I think that for someone like myself who has gone through something so traumatic as cancer, and it doesn't have to just be cancer. It could be something, a situation that happened in your life for somebody else. It could be any other type of disease in the body or even an injury. I think that when you go through a traumatic situation, you are gifted the opportunity to go inward and to recognize how important life is and how important your health is. And for me, I think that I took that and I ran with it. I took that as being, it is such a gift to be healthy. And I don't want anything to disrupt that. So fast forward to life happening and thriving now and everything happening. I still daily listen, what do I need today? What feels good? And some days it could just be hands on my heart, taking a few deep breaths, feet in the ground. Some days it could be like a really great, vigorous workout. Some days it could just be walking with a friend and conversating because I haven't met up with them in a while. And I think that losing the overall societal standards of, no, you should just do, be everything for everybody else. And then if you have a little leftover energy, then you might want to work out. I think flipping the script on that and filling yourself up first and being with yourself first and then doing for yourself first will then be able to give so much to other people as well. And it's interesting because I had a conversation with my best friend who, right around the holidays, I was going through all my back stuff. I was crying in pain because I'm in so much discomfort. And I was hosting something and she's just like, you just need to let people help you. Let your daughter see that you need help. Let her help you because she wants to, and let her see what receivership looks like. I was like, oh, wow, you were so right in this. I was looking at it like, oh, I don't want to put this on her because this isn't her situation. This is mine. But really allowing our youth and our loved ones to see what receivership looks like and not thinking, oh, I'm just putting all of this on them was really like a whoa point for me. So I think that especially in your world and with all of your beautiful listeners and members in your community, especially in the education world, teachers need to understand that. Like they need to fill themselves up first. They need to understand their worth and their health and build this compassion for themselves and their bodies first, because if they do that, they will only be there for their students and their parents and everybody in their community even that much more. It's so important.
Yeah. And that truly is the message that is the underpinning of everything we do in Empowered Educator. Is the most generous thing you can do for other people is take care of yourself, which really does fly in the face of some of these traditional societal standards, but it's not working. The way that it's going isn't working. We're not getting the results that we really want. We're not living our best lives. And when we do fall with some sort of illness or trauma or family situation, it's this internal struggle of where are my priorities? And I think one of the most important pieces of all of this is that you don't have to wait for the diagnosis or the trauma to happen to wake up and say, I need to prioritize me. I need to make my health a priority because, like you said, your health is a gift. That's all we've got in this lifetime. And if that's not a priority, then really, what are we doing? And what are we teaching our kids?
Yeah, absolutely. And unfortunately, our medical world, especially in America, is very much a reactive world, right? They react. They want to treat the one component the disease is lying in. Whereas with the Eastern mentality, it is a proactive approach and treat the body as a whole. And while I'm in the world where I really want to help a lot of beautiful breast cancer survivors and thrivers learn how to reentry their way back into their new world and new reality. I'm also very much connected to helping beautiful women be more proactive in their world before it happens, right? Learn how to create daily routines to center yourself before going into the chaos of your world. Learn how to not let external distractions enter into your internal peace. And it doesn't have to be, oh, I got to go to a 75-minute hot yoga class every single day or get a massage every single day in order to find that. No, it could just be sitting down and being with your thoughts for 5 minutes. It could be, like I said, just getting out and breathing in fresh air for 5 minutes, feel the sunshine, have a great conversation, a positive conversation with a friend, not going to your negative friend and hearing them just complain all the time. Surrounding yourself with people who have like-minded mentalities of wanting more for themselves, eating just healthier foods, whether it be cleaner foods or maybe less alcohol, less caffeine, which listen, I love my wine and I love my coffee. Two things I probably will never give up, but lessening it or finding cleaner options for it. Or maybe you do meatless Mondays and you try to eliminate toxic meat products coming into your body. Not to say there's anything wrong with eating meat, but maybe cleaner, grass-fed, kinder type of meats entering into your body. There are so many things that you could do. Maybe before bed, instead of just being on your phone for 10, 15 minutes beforehand, you you dim the lights, you maybe read a good positive book or do a great meditation before you go to bed. There's really so many things that people can do that they can take little steps each day. And before you know it, you are creating this beautiful routine of mindfulness and presence and building that internal love and peace and connection that everybody deserves and needs. I don't like to say need. We know the importance of using the word should and need, but everybody needs this. They need this.
Yeah, it's basic human health. And that is something that we all need. So let's stay there for a little bit because this is also part of your specialty, yoga for the lymphatic system, yoga and the connection to traditional Chinese medicine. So what kinds of things do you now incorporate into your practice and share with your students that might be different than the typical yoga class or what we might think of as a traditional yoga class?
You know, I feel like with yoga, there are so many different styles of yoga. There are so many different formats and it's evolving, right? The yoga that was practiced thousands of years ago and the yoga that's practiced today, it can be very different. And I feel like my approach to my teachings now, my approach has always been, I want people to feel empowered when they leave my class. Now, even more so, I want people to feel a deeper sense to that intuitive movement, right? As I teach maybe different levels and different postures, I want people to feel intuitively what feels right for them, not always doing the most advanced move. But now even more so, I feel like there's so much knowledge and education now about how strong our bodies really are. The body is such a beautiful thing. And I get so excited about how strong our bodies are if we're really treating them right. So from a physical standpoint, learning about the lymphatic system, for instance, the lymphatic system is basically, in a nutshell, I don't have to spend too much time on it, but I do get very nerdy. I nerd out on it big time.
Let's do it. I love nerding out.
So the lymphatic system is very much our trash removal system, right? Our waste removal system. And unlike the heart, where the heart can pumps the blood and get things going in the body, our lymphatic system actually doesn't have a pump in it. Our pump would either be us physically moving our bodies or lymphatic massage or dry brushing or exercise, rebounding. There's many ways that you can encourage the flow of the fluid in the body. And so now I love to incorporate lymphatic drainage and the encouragement of that lymphatic drainage in our yoga practices with breath work, with moving our bodies, with especially around the joints. I'm actually doing a lot of lymphatic and yoga 101 workshops. So kind of a high level and introduction into how we can ignite our lymphatic system and giving my clients a high level knowledge of how it works and what they can do on their own. So learning or teaching them about that a little bit, doing a yoga flow where we incorporate some different movements that they're like, oh, okay, I can do this on my own. And then giving them some practical tools that they can start to incorporate into their daily routine, like a self lymphatic massage, like the dry brushing, like just moving your joints around and doing a quick massage to open up those areas to help the flow and encourage the flow. I do that. I really try to do that quite a few times a week. I have one of those Shakti mats now for acupressure lying back in the back. I do those. There are some great acupressure points on the days that I'm feeling maybe low energy or back pain, or maybe my immune system is feeling a little sluggish. I'll start to incorporate some acupressure points or go to acupuncture. So I think it comes down to teaching people to be more connected to their body, to listen to how the body is communicating to them. People don't really realize how good our bodies are designed to feel. When you are stuck in very sluggish energy or constant headaches, constant cramps for women, like our bodies are really not meant to be in that chronic fatigue or chronic discomfort. And we all just get used to it. And I think that's important of recognizing where is this constant communication coming forth in these aches and pains and discomfort and all of that. And so I think it's understanding that in your own body, because we are so different. And that is a different approach from Eastern to Western medical systems too, right? Eastern is very much of, well, okay, how is your body communicating? We're all different. Genetically, we're different. What our bodies need from day to day is going to be different. What I need is going to be different from what you need. But in the Western world is, oh, you have a headache. Here's some medicine, because we did some findings and some research on a bunch of women, white women of a certain age that all need this. Again, we are all different depending on our background, depending on how we were birthed into this world, when we were birthed into this world, what our genetic makeup is. It's all different. And so I think one of my main purposes in this world is to really help women and men understand, to listen to their bodies, to get more intuitive with their own body so they can really see what they need. They can prescribe to what they need to themselves and not need so many external findings and people to help them find it.
Yeah. The communication to your body and the communication from your body is so essential. You know, our body talks to us all the time, and we do just need to be better listeners. I was talking with a woman the other day at a workshop I was doing, and it was like, hey, how is everyone? It was just the beginning, and I'm great, but I have this headache and I don't know why. It's for no reason. I think is what she said. I have this headache for no reason. And I was like, that's so interesting. We don't have headaches for no reason. What is this headache telling you right now? And even just asking that question is unusual from the way that we've all kind of been brought up, generally speaking. So this questioning process and this looking within is such an important theme for any sort of work that you're doing, but particularly when it comes to your health. I so appreciate that. And as a side, I love my Shakti mat. I did it this morning. I do it almost every morning. And the dry brushing thing was something that I remember first hearing about it and saying, no way, what is this stupid thing?
Yeah.
You know? And when I did it consistently, and I've kind of, ebbs and flows with my consistency with it, but the inflammation goes away. The ability to feel more agile even is something that I've noticed too with my body. So doing something other than popping a couple of Advil has been really helpful, because it feels like I have some autonomy with my body. And that's really important.
Yeah. And I think there's something to be said about the beautiful opportunity to become curious, right? So if you take all the questions out of it and you kind of maybe revamp it to be like, oh, I'm curious. I'm going to be curious about what's going on in my body and explore. And I use those words a lot actually in my yoga classes now instead of expectations and judgment. I'm just going to explore like what's going on in my body today? What am I bringing onto the mat today? And move into it. It feels a little bit more light and fun to be curious as to what's going on. And then maybe the why comes behind it. But I think that we don't pause enough. We don't pause. And because it's just such like a reactive type of society that we live in, like, oh, you got a headache, here, take those pills, rather than just taking a moment and just pausing and reflect and just being like, because when we close our eyes and we take a few deep breaths, it's amazing when we can go inward, the world that we start to see, the world that we start to feel that is within us. And it is very much moving into that curious mentality rather than, oh, I'm just going to put the Band-Aid on. I'm just going to take 2 ibuprofen or 2 Advil or whatever. And just really say, what did I eat or drink yesterday? Or what didn't I eat or drink yesterday? Or, was I feeling in my neck? Is it like stress? What were my stress levels yesterday? And just getting curious, maybe with some of those questions and just simply asking yourself. And again, not looking for others to ask you questions, but having that connection and the desire and the want to be able to ask the questions yourself and figure out the questions for yourself,
What a gift to create and continue to initiate that internal dialogue. That
Mm-hmm.
is something that I know continues to strengthen the relationship you get to have with yourself, which is the most important relationship you will ever have in this lifetime. So that's gorgeous, Crissy. And so with that in mind, thinking about our audience, thinking about schools, what would your dream be for the future of education?
I have older kids now. My kids are now 21 and 18, which is absolutely insane. I don't know how that happened because I feel like I'm 21 sometimes myself. But I feel that back into, and I don't even know if it was ever really there, but bringing back the sense of just compassion and oneness and seeing these children as like little kids once again and being present, not feeling so stressed. Teachers and educators have so much weight on their shoulders. And unfortunately, you all have one of the most important jobs in our future. And I feel that you want to give to your students so much. You want to be there for your teachers so much. This is what's coming up now. I was going a different route, but this is what's coming up now. You can't give to your students unless you give to yourselves. And that is the best gift that you can give yourself. So if I could see educators, teachers of all levels from preschool all the way to college and even in the yoga world and any kind of teacher that you are, give yourself the opportunity to slow down, to reconnect to yourself so that you can then show up for all of your beautiful students. And I promise you, you will not only have a better experience within you, but you are creating a really beautiful and calm environment that you will be able to teach with ease and with just, all of the beautiful things.
Yes, yes. And organizations don't change until people change. And this is something that you get to give yourself permission to do this for you. And that's really how the ripple effect starts and how we do make significant change. So that was beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
I know people listening are loving what you're saying, and I want to give them the opportunity to easily get in touch with you. How can they do that?
So I think the best way would be to go to my website. So it's Healing in Harmony, and I'm sure you'll probably put the notes up, but it's healinginharmony.net. And you can hit contact me, reach out to me. My phone number and email are on there. Feel free. I would love that. And I also include a lot of events that I'm doing. Most of my events are local, but I'm looking to branch out and do more online events as well. And actually, in February, I think it's on February 21st, I'm going to do my online yoga and lymphatics workshop because I want to expand this knowledge and this information out to so many other amazing humans. So I hope you all can join me for that. I'll get the information on that probably coming in the next few weeks up on my website, but you can stay in touch with me also through social media, Instagram. I think it's Flow with Crissy Florio, and it's FLO_ with Crissy Florio. So yeah, stay in touch. I'd love to hear what you thought about this. And if there's any other ways that I can be of service, I would love to stay in your world too, Jen.
Yes, I would love for you to stay in my world. And from personal experience, for those of you listening, Crissy is a fabulous yoga instructor. I love being in your classes, and I am excited to continue to learn from you and excited to extend the invitation to everyone listening to learn from you too.
I do actually online private sessions, group events and corporate events and weddings and all of that too. So even if you're not close here in Florida, I definitely have a lot of private clients that work with me one-on-one, and we still feel the energy even through Zoom, even though you and I are doing right now.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. So thank you so much for being here, sharing your story, sharing your wisdom and expertise. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you. It was my honor, truly. I appreciate it. Thank you. And thank you to everyone listening.
And if you loved today's episode, which I know you did, make sure you write a 5-star review, subscribe, and share with a friend. And we'll see you next time on Take Notes. Incredible, right? Together, we can revolutionize the face of education. It's all possible, and it's all here for you right now. Let's keep the conversation going at Empowered Educator Faculty Room on Facebook.